So interesting you should say that, but if you look at the store like Target, they've done that with artists. They've taken Stark,
Right.
they've done, Stark has his obvious base, and they've
Right.
blown him out of Target. Well, you're right, you're talking to our generation now. We've grown up with all of these images, and we're able to draw freely. There's no defining...
I thought I was talking to you.
Well, we are. The culture catch is. Are you in fear of ever jumping the proverbial shark with your career and your art?
I worry about getting up every morning. No, you know what? The goal is for me to grow with my work. I mean, the basic philosophy is not getting to where you're trying to go. It's just the act of actually the idea of just movement, the idea of just life is the voyage itself. So for me, just trying to grow with my work, always keeping myself interested, taking risks, just trying to discover something new, not playing it safe.
Right.
I mean, ever since I was a child, actually ever since I could remember, that's all I ever wanted to be was an artist. I mean, in elementary school, that's all I did do. That's all I said I wanted to do. That's all I wrote about. That's all I was drawing since I was a little kid. My cousins always thought I had some kind of emotional problem. I was always creating characters.
Right.
It was the way that I was able to communicate. And now in my fine art, they're using this kind of very strong, iconic images. I've kind of reverted back to the way I was as a 9-year-old or 10-year-old. And I feel these type of iconic images that I create are appropriate for the generation that we're living in.
Right.
Back to not just the internet, but what I see is, again, a little more philosophy on this, is that nobody has any time to digest any information.
Absolutely.
Okay? Where like 10 years ago even, if somebody talked to you, you had the time to drive home or take the subway home, or do something to think about your answer and then call them up when you got home. Now, you have a cell phone. Everyone's just vomiting their emotions. No one is actually consciously thinking through things. You're emailing, you're IMing, you're AOLing or whatever. Everyone's answering immediately. And with that, and being bombarded by all media, even more so than just billboards or radio and film and TV, and just the whole idea of this kind of strong, iconic images,
right.
They just impact you immediately.
Right.
You can see it, and it has a certain concept or idea or emotion, and it just like blasts in your face.
Right.
It just bursts there.
Right.
And while you're dealing with so much competition, it's something that's what made me a successful illustrator when I was doing that. And I feel as a painter, using that kind of approach, but with a body of work and a narrative and metaphors and allegories that are more depth, will impact and have a lot more weight within the fine art world.
How would you like to be remembered?
I just remembered as the something simple, like the greatest artist of our time, of this generation.
Somebody who defined his generation then?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
I don't have an ego.
What advice do you have for the young artist, Gary?
Pretty much what I try to instill in young artists is to, one, take responsibility for what you want to say, how you want to say it, then take responsibility for who's your audience, where your art's going to show, and who's going to see your art, rather than just like creating art and sitting back and waiting for some kind of sugar daddy or sugar gallery to take care of your career. If you're going to create art, you also have to have people who are going to be affected and moved by it.
Right,
so.
Right, very good. Gary, thank you very much for being on the Culture Catch.
Oh, you're just so welcome. It was my pleasure.
It was our pleasure.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.